When I'm having a really bad day, I buy stuff. I'm a retail therapy guy. I spend a stupid amount of money on something I don't need to impress someone I don't know who I'll probably never meet because I enjoy the endorphin kick that comes from such insanity. It's a good feeling. Or I buy stationery, which is a little perverted, but we can talk about that another day. So, I drag my wife, kicking and screaming against all her better judgment, into the Gucci store that sits just off Cavill Avenue or whatever it is there on the Gold Coast. And I'm like, yeah, she'll go and find a bag. She finds a bag she likes for $1,500. I was like, $1,500. I thought I'd get away for this for about $354. I'm like, $1,500, right? Anyway, there was something about this bag that bugged me, and at first I couldn't figure out what it was. And just as she's about to buy it, I worked out I'd seen exactly the same bag in Malaysia 2 weeks before for $50. Stupid me mentioned that to my wife. All the women are like, what are you doing? You know? But have you ever been in a situation with your husband, your wife, your better half, where you knew you were wrong, but you just stayed fighting anyway to make a point? This is kind of how it works. Because you know, at this point, Sharon has two choices, right? Number one, she can pretend nothing happened, not buy the bag, be mad at me for, 4 months, and see if I can figure out where I went wrong. Her usual strategy, by the way. Or she can just unleash in the store. She unleashed. She's like, you little bastard. That's what she calls me when she wants to get in. You little man. You little bastard. You drag me into this store, you make me find a bag, and then you dare to question the one I choose? I don't want the bag from Malaysia. I'm like, what? I'm going back in 2 weeks. I'll buy you two for $60. You know what I said? I was like, there's different colors in Malaysia. They don't even stock them here in Gucci. She's like, I don't want the bag in Malaysia. I'm like, why not? She's because it's a fake. And I said, yeah, with the exception of a 16-year-old schoolgirl in Japan, no one actually knows the difference between a real Gucci bag and a fake Gucci bag. She said, yes, they can. I said, how? She said, stitching. I was like, $1,450 worth of stitching? She said, yes. Bought the bag, stormed out, leaves the pram, like Maddie's like in the store on her. I chased her down the corso, finally track her down, said the dumbest thing I've ever said in my married life. Don't you think that was a little bit irrational? To which she says, no, I don't want a fake bag. And I said, no one will know. She said, yes, they will. I will know. In other words, my wife spent 30 times the price of a functional, and I would argue, having been to where they make these things, aesthetic equivalent. 30 times the price because of the story she told herself about that product. In other words, Gucci have spent billions and billions of dollars building a narrative in the mind of the market that says buying Gucci makes you sophisticated, pretty, smart, successful, whatever it is. In other words, they've built a story for which people are prepared to pay 30 times the price to buy into. If you don't think your job is to do the same thing, you are deluded. If you really think price is the dominant driver of the decisions of who to engage with, then you're not building a powerful enough narrative in the mind of the buyer for why they should buy from you. Here is my experience. The higher the price, the more people say yes. It's weird. I got a call the other day. We'd like you to come and speak in Milan. I've never even been to Milan. I'm like, Sharon, would you like to go? I'm like, no, I don't really want Sharon to go to Milan. That thing will cost me a fortune. I've unleashed the beast, right? Anyway, she's like, I don't want to go. I'm like, well, if you want to go and I'm not going. So I'm like, charge him double. What do they say? Yes. What shit? You know what? And it's almost like, so this is not necessarily for every business, but in my business, price is actually part of the stitching that drives the story. And for many of you, it may be the same. Now, it could be something entirely different. Maybe price isn't the driving stitching factor. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is that, yes, you have to be competitive in some way. Now, that doesn't mean cheaper. It just means competitive. You can't go and sell chairs for $50,000 that look like that. You know, because I can get chairs for 50. Yeah? You have to be efficient. You have to give people what they want when they want. I mean, duh, it's 2010. Does it have to be reasonable quality? Yes, depending on the need. But if you really want to dominate the marketplace, you have to understand how to build a story. Now, the weird thing is that even though it's all about the story, the way you tell a story is actually through the stitching. Does that make sense? Meaning Gucci wouldn't have that powerful story if they didn't have great stitching. And it's what's called a hermeneutic circle. Each piece feeds each other piece. The more powerful the story, the better the stitching. The better the stitching, the more powerful the story.